Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Sayana Reed, aka DC of DC Virtual Services Incorporated, headquartered in Tennessee. Today we are going to go over the S Quadrant of so today we are going to go through the S Quadrant or the small business quadrant, self-employment and small business quadrant of the Robert Kiyosaki cash flow quadrant. So yesterday we went through the E quadrant. Today we are going through the S quadrant. So y'all, I recorded this and for some reason it did not want to record. So I'm back at it. We're going to get it. If you're watching this on Bigo Live, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're watching this on a social media, another social media account, welcome as well. On Bigo Live, we actually doing a Money Mania brought to you by Bigo Live and DCVS Incorporated in June 2022. So past couple of days we have been going over. We actually read, did the audio book, did a review, did the the E quadrant on how to make 100 grand a year in 2022 in the E quadrant, and now we're going to go through the self-employment and small business quadrant here. So what we're going to go over today is to basically do a quick review. Then we're going to find out the difference between employed versus self-employed. What is a small business? How to become self-employed? How to create an LLC or EIN number. How switching to self-employment is good for your health, and 14 best self-employed careers. So if you're watching this on Bigo Live, we actually did the mindset conditioning, which basically it helps your mindset in bringing you in the vibration that you want to be in order to create wealth. Also, we are going to do our subliminal. So if you're watching this on another social media account, feel free to go on Bigo Live, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time to watch the Money Mania in real time. This is going to be recorded for everyone. And let's get it. Let's get in. Let's go. So the first thing that we're going to do is do a quick review here. So self-employed, basically the self-employed quadrant is really the people that's in a self-employed quadrant do not make good employees. And the reason why I say they do not make good employees because they're kind of like rebellious. They want to do things themselves, how they want to do things and the way they want to do things. They kind of sometimes have a little more credentials than the employer. So it kind of causes a conflict of interest when a person that meant to be self-employed work for another person, right? Self-employed people that are employees kind of have attitudes that the things that's being done could be done better. Self-employed individuals do like the idea of security. They do have a higher tolerance of risk because being self-employed in the left side of the quadrant is the riskiest quadrant on the left side of the cash flow quadrant. So they have a little more tolerance for risk, and they don't mind working for themselves and working how many hours to make themselves successful. People in the S quadrant, according to Robert Kiyosaki, are doctors, lawyers, dentists, accountants, other service-based business and consultants. They have very high standards for their work, and they have a very hard time delegating it. Information and delegating that work to other people. If you're on Bigo Live as a host, you are considered to be self-employed. You are considered to be in the S quadrant. So the information that's given to you today is going to be very important for you. If you're watching this and you're a self-employed person, whether you sell insurance, do hair, whatever, doctor, lawyer, you are considered to be in the self-employed quadrant of the cash flow quadrant. So the next thing that we're going to go through here is the difference between employed versus self-employed. So this is going to be a quick video on what's the difference between being employed and self-employed, and so we could dive a little bit deeper.
Start selling online with Shopify, the e-commerce platform that's trusted by millions of businesses worldwide.
Here you go.
Where do jobs come from? Why do all people not just work on their own? Everyone strives to make the most effective use of their resources to meet their needs as best as they can. When you enter the labor market, you already have some resources. You have knowledge, skills, and abilities, and you have some time you can spend on work. Thus, you need to decide on the way most beneficial for you to employ these resources. There are two options here: working for a company or starting one. Your potential earnings should help you decide on that. Will you earn more by working on your own than by getting a job? Let us take an example. Jack is a physical worker. He can either operate a construction machine or use his own physical strength to get the job done. Jack knows that the best career path for him is doing physical work. Now assume that the current market pay for digging a 1 meter deep ditch is $10. Jack is faced with a decision. He can try to secure some orders for ditch digging by himself, or he can get a steady job at a construction company. With his trusty shovel by his side, he can dig 5 ditches a day, so he would earn $1,000 a month working Monday to Friday. The construction company has an excavator which Jack can use to dig 30 ditches per day, but the company is prepared to pay only $5 per ditch to a worker while keeping the rest. On the company's payroll, Jack would earn $3,000. Moreover, unlike Jack, the construction company already has a nice market position and a customer base, so it would take a lot of work only to catch up with that. And remember that he is less effective at digging than the excavator. Can we assume that the construction company is exploiting Jack by taking away 50% of his work's worth? And if not for the company, Jack would earn even less. He lacks the capital needed to increase his efficiency, and his low potential earnings make it harder for him to save up and invest in buying his own excavator. Working for a company already endowed with capital, improving his productivity, gives Jack a chance for a better life. No rational man like Jack would take such a job knowing that he can earn more on his own. Thus, unless an employer finds a way to multiply the value of his employee's work beyond that of his potential earnings while self-employed, the employer cannot possibly hire anyone. And the value of work is always multiplied when used with a helping hand of capital. The capital can be such things as tools, know-how, or business contacts. It is obvious, however, that the employer would not employ Jack out of the goodness of his heart alone. The boss's aim is to put all of his work to good use, thus turning it into profit. Now let us examine what this desire to use the work for profit entails. Martin had a steady job for many years. Month by month, he saved some of his wages, sacrificing a potential of a slightly more luxurious life. When he collected $40,000, he took a grave risk. He left his job and founded a construction company. He invested his money in tools, a car for his working team, and in steady salaries for the men he hired. First, he took small orders and his savings dwindled while his men were getting paid. Initially, he earned less than in his regular job, but with every satisfied client, he got more orders, and after some time, he even started seeing some profits. He continued to consume less than he earned and was thus able to reinvest his money into his business by training his employees and buying better tools for them. After a few years, he had a good market position and decided that it was time to expand. He took another risk, loaning money to buy heavy construction equipment, including the very excavator, which later got Jack a job. Notice how Martin did not get it all for free. At first, for many years, he had to abstain from consumption and thus save money. Then he took a great risk and left his comfortable and steady job to start a business. Were he to fail, he would not only lose his entire savings, but his job as well. He was willing to do all of these things because he hoped for a future profit. It was this very hope that kept him going. Without this chance for higher future earnings, he would probably never left his previous job. It is so easy to create jobs for their own sake. You just need to prohibit the use of all construction machinery. Then you will have to replace one excavator operator with 10 people working shovels. You can also spend millions of taxpayers' dollars on workers who will dig trenches and then more millions on other people filling those trenches up. But it's evident that this is a pure waste of resources that could otherwise be put to a good use. All work is futile unless it adds value. We have already discussed in our video that which is seen and that which is not seen, how the government is incapable of creating new jobs. It can only shuffle them around. Roughly speaking, for every job created by the government, we lose a potential job in the private sector. And those jobs supposedly created by the government often add no value whatsoever to society. One convincing example is excessive bureaucracy. So what can government do to actually create more jobs? If what creates jobs is hope for higher future profits, then the government needs only to abstain from interfering with employment of accumulated capital and with profit realization. The government should refrain from taxing high profits, not to discourage profitable activities of entrepreneurs. And also, it should stop pulling away accumulated capital from most productive uses. The government should also stop making it more expensive for entrepreneurs to hire people. If a workplace costs more money than it brings, then it will not be created. It is also important for the government not to cause inflation by interfering with interest rates, as it discourages savings. All in all, the best thing the government can do for the labor market is to step aside and allow the entrepreneurs to act. For more, visit econclips.com. If you don't want to miss our next video, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our
All right. So now we know where the jobs come from and the difference between employment versus self-employment. As you can see, the self-employed individual or the small business makes up majority of the economy. So without a small business or a self-employed individual, we will be in trouble as far as our economy is concerned. Okay, let's see here. All right, so we did the review for the S Quadrant. So now we know what self-employed and versus employed is. So we know the difference between the two, but what is a small business? So we're going to go over that really quick here. This is the United States Census Bureau, the official website of the United States government. You may be sovereign, you may be from another country, things of that nature, but I'm actually in the great state of Tennessee, which is a part of the United States corporation, right? So the United States is actually a corporation, just like other businesses and things of that nature. So that's another story for another day, but this is the official website of the United States government. So what is a small business? The majority of US businesses has a fewer than 5 employees. So majority of US businesses, whether you are a, I sound so funny, hold on. Oh, okay. Around this time, I do a lot of talking. I do a lot of talking in public. I do a lot of talking now. And so at a certain time, I started sounding funny. So excuse me. But anyway, the majority of US businesses have fewer than 5 employees. So this is from Andrew Hyatt back in January 2021. So basically, small businesses is a vital segment, like I was stated earlier. Businesses are often held as a valuable segment of our national and local economies and a primary driver of U.S. financial growth. So that's why I was stating a few seconds ago that the self-employed and small businesses drive the U.S. economy. If there was not any self-employed or small businesses, which those are usually the middle class of the sector, the economy will be in trouble, right? So accordingly to this article, the U.S. Small Business Administration, this is the SBA, have a different definition of small businesses. And this is included on the SBA's website. basically this U.S. Small Business Administration (SBA) is a entity that help fund small businesses and give our government contracting. According to the SBA, a small business by firm revenue, so it's either they range from $1 million to over $40 million, and by employment from 100 to 1,500 employees. This is what they consider to be a small business, which when you get to 50 or when you get to 51 or more employees, and notice that word is highlighted, employees. When you start getting employees at a certain amount, you have to provide benefits such as unemployment benefits, 401k, and health insurance benefits. So you do have to start offering those type of benefits when you have employees and you have over 50. So, for example, the SBA definition, a roofing contractor is defined as a small business if its annual revenue is 16.5 million or less. And then it says a definition for the asphalt, shingle, and coating material manufacturer defined as a small business if you have a fewer than 750 employees. So they have their own different kind of standards on what a small business is, but just to keep it simple and things of that nature, a self-employed individual usually have between 1 to 5 employees or less. If you was a bigger business, a small business, you have a little more revenue and you have a little more contractors, 5 or more, right? So when you start beginning to be in the sector of the SBA, you have to have from 100 to 1,500 and start going into the millions as far as the revenue is concerned. And that's cumulative. So that's like all the revenues that you've been in an actual business and incorporated. So the most important, the most profitable businesses right now through self-employment is restaurants, truck transportation, so CDLs, real estate agents. And that's just the size. So again, fewer than 5 small businesses represents in 2018, 54.4%. So they had a large chunk of the economy, whereas the other half is will be coming from businesses like big businesses and those with systems and investments here. So, and this is according to 2018 U.S. Census value. So it's not that far along. And again, it should be more than that due to the pandemic and, the great resignation. A lot of people left their jobs in order to create their own businesses. So it's a lot higher now. So and then the convenience stores are popular. And then S corporations. So DCVS is an S corporation. You got C corporations like Coca-Cola. You got individual proprietorships that's using your social security number. You got partnerships too. Excuse me. 2 people with their own social security numbers do a joint venture and partnership, and then non-corporate legal forms. So people just walking around and doing business without using, basically under the table. So the highest ones right now is partnerships, partnering with another company or another person in order to build a company. So another form of small businesses is legally structured, such as C corporations or S corporations. C corps are business owners are taxed separately from their business. S corps is business owners that have a special tax status and don't typically have to pay federal income taxes. So it's a difference between the two. It's just I'm not a tax person or accountant, so consult who you need to consult for that. But this is just information. So you want more information, just feel free to go on this website. I will have the link in the Google Classroom for the resources. So next thing that we're going to go over is what is a small business? So we went through the employment and self-employment, what's a small business. So now we're going to go over how to actually create this LLC or business. So the website that I like to use is called inkfile.com. And what efile.com does is actually, and I'm not gonna sign into my information, but what you do, you click on search your business or incorporate them, put your information in. So for example, the LLC, and we're gonna just use Tennessee. Excuse me. So basically what you would do, you would choose your package, and the state fee is $308. So that's what you'll be paying for a LLC each year. This is actually each year that you have the LLC. You get it created, but you still got to pay the fees. Each year is about that same size price. So I do recommend taking a better look and see what's best for you. And then so that's actually free. So eFile will allow you to create your LLC for free, and you just pay the state fee. Each other packages got their own benefits on it. When I started my LLC, I believe I did 308 because I had everything for the most part. I just had the official tissue, right, which was paying the state. You gotta pay the state. You gotta pay a state and incorporate correctly. So I did that. I already had an EIN number and so on and so forth, which I'm gonna show you how to get that. So you don't need this. If you want it, you can, but I'm gonna show you how to get your EIN, and that's what one of the things they include on here. It's the EIN. Each one do get a free registered agent service for years. So basically, you got a place that you have to send your official mail, whether it's like lawsuits, anything of that nature, to a registered agent service. So they have to get that information and notify you appropriately. So you get all of this. So I would choose Silver, boom, create my LLC, and then you're gonna turn around when you do your LLC, you're going to create your employer identification number, or known as a EIN. Let's see something. All right, let me go back. I ain't sounding funny, but this information is needed, and we're gonna do this information. If it was in real time, I promise you, baby, you be hearing me coughing mute and stuff like that. So we're gonna keep the show rolling. So anyway, so to create your EIN number, and this is very, 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 very important to have, as creating an LLC, a S corporation, or a C corp, or even a non-for-profit. You got to have an employer identification number. You don't want to be doing business under your personal social security number. Without being incorporated, someone can actually sue you as a person and not your company, which is a separate entity from you. So you always want to do business in your employer identification number, so you could be able to do business properly, and you'll be able to start building what is called business credit. So you'll go on this website. Again, this is official website of the U.S. government. You'll go and you will do all of this, but basically you would just click on apply now. You apply for it, and then boom, begin the application. I am going to send you that link as well if you need this link. So you'll fill it out. I won't let nobody else fill it out or do it for me, because you're still giving out your personal information. You just want to be efficient and proficient for yourself. You want to learn for yourself. So again, being self-employed, how can you teach somebody else to train somebody else if you never did it before? So you want to be mindful with that. But that's how you create your EIN number. So you'll have your LLC, and then you'll have your EIN, and then you're ready to do business. And again, this is not going to be a real, long and with a lot of fluff and things of that nature. In order to learn something, grab something, you want to be able to get the information and get the relevant information in order to move forward with yourself. So I'm not going to be long drawn and things like that. I'm showing you what I have learned throughout the years. So me learning with y'all, because when I'm doing this, I'm learning. That was really my first time reading the Rich Dad Poor Dad, or actually hearing it, and I actually read the book too. But that was my first time really connecting with that book. I always knew about the cash flow quadrant, but I didn't dig a little more deeper than I'm doing now with y'all. So we all encouraging each other. So I don't want to give you some irrelevant information that does not matter. So the next thing that we're going to do here, we created a LLC, a EIN, so we know how to do that. So we're going to find out how switching from self-employment can be good for your health, right? And then this is coming from ScienceDirect.com, the Journal of Business Venturing, Volume 34, Issue 4. So this is a scholarly source here. So just to make the gist of it here, you can read the PDF. Let me click on the PDF. Yes, wow. So basically, they say this is being an entrepreneur or working for yourself. It has a large mental health gains and no overall health improvements here from switching to employment to self-employment. So both of them require both physical and mental health, but mentally you have a large mental health gain, whereas it's not mentally unhealthy. So you can have basically you have stress working for yourself than working for somebody else, because now you putting somebody else's delegating you with their energy, and their energy may not be good energy. You may not have a good boss. You may not have a good partner. So just with that being said, you working on your own, you working with your own energy. Even your employee or your contractor may not be no good. So it's just you working with yourself, working by yourself. So therefore you have less stress, less cortisol, which that's the stress hormone being created. Therefore it helps your mental health. And when you help your mental health, of course, your physical and your emotions are going to follow, and eventually your financial. So that's the benefits with that. That's just one of the benefits. So you want to read that? We're not going to go in depth with that. That's the actual journal. Feel free to read that with the link I sent you. So next thing that we're going to go through here is the 14 best self-employed careers. Here. So yesterday we actually went through the actual what was the top 10 jobs under the employee quadrant that you could make $100,000 or more a year in 2022. So we found out that the top 10. So now, according to Cabbage, powered by American Express, there are 14 best self-employed jobs that you can start tomorrow. You can start today. You can make a decision today that you want to be self-employed and things of that nature. Again, if you're on Bigo Live as a host, you are self-employed anyway. So, you want to just, amp it up and increase what you're doing now and things of that nature and build a solid foundation. So you will also be Live. You partner with the agency, therefore they partner with the company and things of that nature. So you're self-employed now. So according to this article, we're gonna go over quickly. So the first thing, one of the top things to do is be a freelancer. If you want to be self-employed but not interested in starting a small business, being a freelancer, you could do different projects or in things based on your interests and based on your skill set. So like I was saying, Bigo Live, you're going live to speak with people and to teach or just socialize. That's an interest, and it may pique your skill set depending on what your skill set is and what you bring it to the table on this platform. But you do a freelancer, therefore you're self-employed. So the next thing you can do is create a home brewery, like creating beers and things of that nature. You could have your own brewery. And then the next thing you can do is be an interior designer. You could be working real estate. So real estate, whether real estate investment, you could do a real estate investment for $500. You can start to have a real estate. You can actually get real estate off of eBay. So that's another story for another day. But if you are on my other platforms, feel free to check that small video. It's like a 1-minute video showing that you can actually go on eBay and get real estate. So real estate investment is pretty good. And then interior design and real estate work hand in hand. So now you're building a on top of what business that you already have, you could actually double it, right? And the next thing you can do is organize events. or become a self-employed life coach, which DC Virtual Services is basically like a life coach. We help others, get the things that they need when they have life decisions. We either go as deep as providing tarot and spirituality tools as well, and things of that nature. So everything ties hand in hand. So the next thing you can do is do catering service. You can do technology repair, or you become a personal trainer, or you could be tutoring. Like this is like a form of tutoring. You can go if you got know something at a decent amount, you can actually tutor other people for it and teach other people. Teaching is a form of being self-employed. And then virtual assistants, DC Virtual Services. You can become a virtual assistant. Basically, you help people out. They need some stuff done on the website, need some paperwork done, and so on and so forth. You can help those people out. Or you can probably become an online merchant, or a wedding or event photographer, or do website translation. So if you can speak multiple languages, you could start a business and translate websites or translate things like this for other people. So the biggest benefit of being self-employed, that you're your own boss. So you're owning the actual business. So it's not nobody, owning the job. You own the job, so therefore you can move the way you want to move. You don't have to work on the days that you don't have to work, but just know being self-employed is going to consist of time equity, sweat equity, and money. And when you don't work, you're not making no money. Or when you're doing something like for what I'm doing now, it's sweat equity. So I'm not going to make an immediate profit, but somebody's going to benefit from that. So I actually, it's with the laws of the universe, I'm giving and I'm going to receive something back. The law of reaping and sowing. So with anything that you do, self-employed is a little more hard work. It's not nobody telling you what to do. When you employ somebody, you're telling them to do your dreams, so you won't have to do it. Being self-employed, you actually doing the things that you have to do in order to move forward. So that's the biggest benefit of it. But it takes discipline, it takes hard work and things of that nature, and eventually creating a system for you to have. So we went through all the 14 self-employed careers. I know I just kind of sped through it, but I want to be able for you to be able to grasp the important information, which the important information was above how to actually even create the LLC and start the process. So again, thank y'all so much for watching. If you're watching this on Bigo Live, stay tuned for the subliminal. If you're watching this on another subliminal, I said subliminal. You can actually watch my subliminals on YouTube under DC Virtual Services. I have the main subliminals on there. Eventually, we will have our own subliminal channel, but we're going to take one step at a time. That's the key of having your own business. You have a madness, a reason for your madness per se. But stay in tune, and if y'all need anything, just feel free to let me know. Tomorrow we will. Tomorrow it's not an actual class tomorrow. So have a great weekend, and I'll see y'all on Monday. Peace.